Studies show that roughly 30% of adults actively avoid at least one family member. But here's what's strange. Before they consciously made that decision, their body already knew. Years earlier, the migraine before you call home, that knot in your stomach before the holidays, feeling completely drained after every family gathering. You think you're overthinking it, being too sensitive. But actually, your nervous system is protecting you. Your body doesn't lie. It remembers what your mind tries to forget. The times your boundaries got steamrolled. The moments your emotions were dismissed. The instances you had to make yourself smaller to fit into someone else's expectations, and then one day just thinking about going back, your body automatically reacts. Not because you're fragile, but because you've lived this too many times before. That's not anxiety. That's your survival instinct kicking in. And this doesn't happen overnight. Family estrangement never starts with one explosive fight or a single catastrophic event. It starts with hundreds of tiny fractures, a criticism disguised as concern, a boundary that gets pushed a little further every year, a dismissive tone that quietly teaches you your feelings don't count. On their own, these moments are too small to call out, but together, they create a psychological environment your body starts responding to on autopilot. That's why from the outside, it looks like everything suddenly imploded. But for the person living it, this is years of silent suffering finally boiling over. Like a volcano. It looks sudden, but only to people who never felt the tremors underneath. But here's what most people miss: guilt is the weapon that keeps you trapped. After everything I've sacrificed for you, this is how you repay me? You're so ungrateful. Family is all you've got. It sounds like love, right? But it's not. It's control dressed up as care, and it works incredibly well. Maybe you're gearing up to set a new boundary. You've rehearsed it in your head 100 times. You take a deep breath, open your mouth. Mom, I need to talk to you about something. And immediately, do you have any idea what I gave up for you? I worked myself to the bone, raised you, and now you're going to. And just like that, you swallow your words, lower your head, feel selfish for wanting basic respect. That's not a conversation. That's a control tactic perfected over years. And here's the most insidious part. They don't do this all the time. There are glimpses of warmth, promises that things will be different, random afternoons when everything feels almost normal. And those moments are exactly what keep you hooked. You think, maybe this time will be different. Maybe they finally get it. But then the cycle starts again. Hurt, apology, warmth, hurt. Your nervous system learns to mistake this chaos for connection. And hope becomes the thing that traps you instead of setting you free. Some people call this emotional neglect. I call it the empty well. You keep going back to your family, hoping they'll listen, ask questions, meet you halfway emotionally. But every single time, you walk away with an empty bucket. Nothing to fill that ache, to be seen, to matter, to be understood. And at some point, returning to a dry well over and over isn't hope anymore. It's self-abandonment. So how do you know if you're stuck in the empty well? Ask yourself, do you feel drained every time you see them? Do you explain how you feel multiple times and it still doesn't register? If yes, you're not asking for too much. You're craving something basic: to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. And when every other boundary fails, many people choose distance, not to punish anyone, but to survive. Some go low contact, fewer calls, shorter visits, keeping things surface level. It's a way of saying, I still care, but I can't give you full access anymore. Others use gray rock, becoming emotionally neutral and unreactive. Not because they're cold, but because it's armor against manipulation and escalation. And some go no contact, complete silence. From the outside, this looks heartless, but for the person choosing it, silence isn't giving up. It's the last language left when words fall on deaf ears. It's the final boundary they can still protect, and sometimes it's the only way to keep from completely falling apart. There are relationships you can only love from a distance, And that's perfectly okay. But here's the thing, the hardest part about estrangement isn't the separation itself. It's grieving someone who's still alive but emotionally unreachable. There's no funeral, no closure ritual. You're mourning a relationship that never existed the way you needed it to. And it's okay to feel both relief and pain. These emotions coexist. You can feel safer while still grieving what could have been. But you know what happens when the noise finally dies down? Something unexpected emerges. Your own voice. For years, it was buried under fear, under roles you were forced into, under the weight of judgment. But now, for the first time, you can actually hear yourself. You start asking questions you were never safe to ask before. What do I actually want? What feels right for me? What truly makes me safe? Choosing estrangement isn't about resentment. It's about clarity. You see it clearly. This pattern ends with me. You refuse to pass this pain forward. You refuse to repeat what damaged you. And that is one of the bravest decisions you'll ever make. If this video helped you understand yourself better, understand what you're carrying, drop a comment below. Just 2 words, I understand. Sometimes, just knowing you're not alone in this, that's already healing. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to be free. You're allowed to build a safer life. It ends with you.